Good evening and welcome to the ShadowTrader Video Weekly for Sunday, January 10th, 2010. United Parcel Service had some interesting action on Friday morning, which was really setting up beautifully for a morning day trade. And I wanted to just kind of work the trade in reverse with you guys. Basically what happened is they announced they were closing a bunch of centers, I guess, and laying off, I don't know, 1,800 people or 1,300 people, something like that. It doesn't really matter what the news was. Remember, as I always say, that really doesn't matter. It's all about how the stock reacts. If you woke up in the morning and you just realized that the stock was gapping, all you need to know is where it's gapping in relation to its daily chart. Why it's doing so is absolutely meaningless. United Parcel Service opened at just around $60 on Friday morning, and the key to this whole trade as to why this was a long in the morning here for a day trade, which was good for about $1 and change right within the first 15 minutes of trade, is very simply that the prior two bars were bearish, and bearish on pretty heavy volume coming into Friday. So you have this sort of shell-shocked reaction by everybody that was bearish on the stock that is forced to cover, and then you have new bulls stepping in who would like to, initiate a position in UPS, and that's what creates this bullishness right off the open. Now, it didn't hold, but that's okay because, like I said, this is the type of setup for a day trade. A lot of people just scan for these types of bearish bars and then look for gaps on the opposite side to sort of force the hand of everybody that was in the prior direction, in this case down, and then they all have to cover and turn it around. If you look back historically at UPS, you can see that there have been other days where the same thing has happened. The stock just tends to trade relatively choppy and kind of sets itself up this way. Not as glaringly obvious as the Friday trade, but it has done it in the past. So just keep an eye on that possibly for the future. There's a pattern that you can use. Speaking of patterns, we'll move into some stocks that are on our watch list, I should say, for lack of a better word, coming into the week of the 11th to the 15th. This is the options expiry week, which is generally bullish, although that's not what really has us bullish. What really has us bullish is just the basic price action in the markets. We do fully realize markets have been up 5 days in a row. We're probably not getting into anything new right away Monday morning because of that, but at the same time, we just don't see anything bearish out there for now. Everything just seems to be holding up pretty well. The trend lines on the long-term indices, the broad market stuff that we've been pointing out, have all been broken to the upside. That's the monthly on the spider. Diamonds haven't really moved too much over the high of last month yet, but they are over the trend line. Again, this is QQQ, which is just phenomenal. IWM is just starting to pierce here, although this could actually be higher. It kind of depends on how you draw it. This may not actually be here. This could actually be a little bit higher, maybe here, right? So we should be okay there as well. So everything seems to be smooth sailing. Of course, with the caveat, that's usually a recipe for disaster, I guess I should say sometimes, if too many people think, well, everything's just fine. But it doesn't really feel that way. I don't really feel that there's this. It's not so much that the complacency that people think that the market's just going up is the problem. The problem becomes when everybody gets really bullish. And that I really don't feel yet in terms of sentiment, where everybody's just like, oh man, I'm missing it. We got to get into it. There still feels like there's a lot of doubt out there. And I think that's what just keeps pushing the market slowly grinding higher each day, because more and more people each day just start to believe it. And then when everybody believes it, that's when you know it's over. So for now, everything's cool. ECL, Echo Lab is something that is on our radar. I want to point out this pattern. It's really interesting. It looks like a choppy mess, but do you see the difference between what has happened over Thursday and Friday compared to all the other bars? First of all, they're the largest bars over the last 2 months, except for this one here. And they have probably the largest volume over the last couple of months. And their price action negates the downtrend and negates these two enormously bearish bars. These are actually the two biggest bars, right, over the last 2 months. And they both were very bearish, closed on the lows. Not too much volume on this one. This one had a big pickup in volume, and now prices closed over the highs of those two bars on two new big body candles to the upside. So this has me thinking that the chop is over. This is probably going to be a slow grind to the upside from here. ITT is another one that we're looking at, only because the action on Friday is just so glaring. I mean, the 4 million shares traded, 5 million shares the day before as it made a doji down at what turned out to be the supporting area just over 48, and now this bar that formed on Friday in ITT seems to be a game changer of sorts. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this. Any pullback into the range of this body would be phenomenal. Sometimes people call that a throwback, where it just comes up and then it zoom down to the right, throws back. I like to see a gentle throwback. It doesn't really matter, but it's just another thing that's on the radar. Gaming stocks are also on the radar currently. Keep an eye on the Juska. Look at the gambling index here. With this is actually a more stereotypical textbook, so to speak, definition of what the throwback is, where it just kind of comes back here gently, and then out of the blue it just explodes. And two stocks that come to mind right away that look exactly the same because they're in the same sector would be Win, which has the same pattern, and LVS. So we're going to be watching both of these for possibly a pullback entry very soon. Oil services as well has been on fire as of late. There's the daily chart there. So we're going to be looking for pullback action in any of the OSX stocks, I should say. Halliburton, Schlumberger, BHI. That's the usual suspects. Nothing new there. All right, a little bit of marketing at the end of this video here. This is the beginning of a new year, so as we always do around this time, that means it's free trial season. If you are on the ShadowTrader email list and you are viewing this video inside of the weekend update, you don't need to do anything. If you're viewing this video at redoption.com or at another participating website, then you need to get on the list with us directly if you are interested in receiving free 2-week trials of all 3 of our newsletters over the next 6 weeks or so. Probably over the next 2 months, I should say, 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to send out the newsletters for free for a 2-week period of each one. They won't overlap. We won't be doing them all at the same time because that's a little bit too much to handle for people to get 3 newsletters at once. We're going to be focusing on the FX foreign exchange newsletter, ShadowTrader Pro FX Trader first, because we've got some really cool stuff in there. It's systems trades now, so the trades are split into 2 different types. There's discretionary with looser stops, where it's like 2 to 300 pip stops, so you can catch bigger moves, and then we have the systems trades, which are with 50 to 100 pip stops. So you can kind of trade both styles, whatever you like. If you're into the more bigger moves and the longer hold, you can take the discretionary trades, or we have the FX, we have the system stuff for the smaller, little momentum type moves. So that's going to be very cool. Swing Trader will probably come up after that, probably sometime in early to mid February, and then we'll do a 2-week trial as well of the pairs. A little caveat, I should say, unfortunately, the way that our system is set up, because all of our trades, our live trades, come out through redoption.com, the free trials do not include the trades. However, you can always check to see at the end of the day, or the next morning when you get the newsletter, in the evening actually when they come out, you can see what trades we did live that day, and if it seems to you like, that's cool, I could have followed along with that, or that makes a lot of sense, then it may be of interest to actually sign up. $20 a month for each one, and all the information, as usual, is at www.shadowtrader.net or also at redoption.com. All right, see you guys next week. On behalf of myself and the entire ShadowTrader team in beautiful Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and of course, as always, from all the good people in Chicago, Illinois, at the one and only Think or Swim, I wish you good trading and good night.